It's the end of the world as we know it. Maybe. Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Extra Normal Podcast. I am Chris. Alongside me is my wife, Brianna.
Hi. Hey, guys.
Another episode of things getting quasi-normal, but, you know, everything's starting to get back to the groove.
More quarantine.
Sort of. Kind of, sort of.
Like the next 2 weeks, because the numbers are spiking again. So
they call us back.
Yeah.
Anyways, speaking of quarantines and pandemics and everything, today we're going to talk about the end of the world.
Well, technically, that was supposed to be in 2012. That was also supposed to be on Sunday, which was Father's Day, that just passed, the 21st.
Yeah, so the reason why we got on this subject is I was honestly gonna make like a big old thing about like we were planning on recording an episode earlier in the week. Things just got chaotic, and I was gonna be like, oh, the end of the world's not gonna happen, and then on Sunday I was gonna like gloat and stuff like that, and the episode was gonna be fun that way. But I think I regret actually bringing this subject up, because now it fucking freaked me out. It freaked me out to no end.
Yeah. That doesn't really freak me out. I think, honestly, like, so Saturday night, I woke up at like 3 a.m. and I was feeling a little restless because, thinking if the world did end, just that I wanted to be prepared. Was it really going to end? So I started Googling all this stuff.
Wait, how do you prepare for the end of the world?
Exactly. I'm a control freak. Control freaks try to find a way.
You just ride the
all
ride.
All you control freaks out there get it. So for me, I was like, okay, I gotta do some research. I gotta figure it out. And then the more I read, like, I was just kind of like, it wasn't as scary. I think it's more scary for me to read like Revelations, like in the Bible.
Well, here's the thing. The Mayan thing, so what we're talking about is some people got in their head that on December 21st, 2012, that was the end of the grand cycle or the great cycle, one of those two, in the Mayan calendar. And they thought that based on that, like, because the calendar ended, this giant cycle ended in Mayan culture, that was that was when it was all going to be over. Because people look to Mayan, especially for like mysticism, especially for apocalyptic, because they had kind of an apocalyptic end on their own, sort of, for their own culture. So people thought it was 2012, and there was the movie 2012, and everybody was like, this is going to happen, like, we're not going to see Christmas 2012, like, yada yada. And of course it didn't happen. And then someone got another calculation in that said, they calculated that, so we're on the Gregorian calendar, right? And so with that, I believe we have is 11 days difference between the Mayan calendar, which was actually originated in 1582, little history fact, that it has 11 days difference. So people calculated that, well, it's not 2012 actually, it is Sunday, June 21st, 2020. And we're recording after June 21st, 2020. So surprise, surprise, we're
2
still
days
alive.
after, to be exact.
Yeah, unless they miscalculated by a few days, then we're all fucked.
Yeah, or if it was like somebody, I don't know, in Indonesia was calculating that, but then we could have been like a day late because they're ahead of us. So
day late, $1 short.
Life.
That's
my life. But yeah, so I feel like, yeah, we're 2 days after, and it didn't happen. But I do definitely think end times are coming. There's a lot of anger in the world.
Apparently 14% of Americans think that the end of the world is going to happen in their lifetime.
I think the signs are there. And the sad thing is, I think if it doesn't happen in our lifetime, I think it definitely will happen in our child's lifetime. So that's a little scary. But, I mean...
Let's get into some... So we just we brushed on the Mayan thing. We cast it aside because unless pending another calculation that seems funky, that's not going to happen based on the Mayan calendar. Which is kind of crazy that people thought that the Mayans would basically, that they would know exact dates of when the world would end. That's crazy, because and it's nothing against the Mayan culture, because think about anybody in 1582 predicting when the world would end. Like, that's not
Right.
gonna happen.
Well, and if
That's not gonna happen.
if the Mayans were so advanced,
For the time, yeah, they had a lot.
So, and then of course, they just magically disappeared. So I feel like definitely, I definitely think that they time traveled in.
Yeah,
in a
I'm
spaceship.
trying to check my fake watch to see how long it took us to get back to aliens. Not
I didn't
long,
say they're aliens. I
Oh,
said they were going to
time
another
travelers.
planet.
but they're aliens. That makes them aliens. No?
Why? They can't just go check out other planets? We try to do that.
Well, they're aliens to whatever planets they're
Oh,
going to.
yes, that is true. But yeah, so I think it's pretty cool.
Am I right on a technicality? Do I get it? Do I get the point? Half a point. I'll take half a point.
That's about all you get.
Yeah.
But so like I feel like if they were predicting that, maybe they were predicting it at a slower pace. Maybe not just like boom, the Earth is.
Oh, was you saying
diminished.
like Father's Day?
So maybe like this, like at that turn, like 2012, a big shift was going to happen, and I think that we have seen that. Like if you're
That was happening before. Like if you think about like the movie 2012, and like a lot of it, I think that a lot of it was, I don't remember much of it. I watched it, and I remember there was
think
like
I did. Did I watch
like a
it?
Noah's Ark type of thing that everybody gone. I don't know. Who
Oh.
fucking knows? But a lot of it is based on like, from what I remember and from what we've seen, a lot of it's based on like climate change factors, like giant waves coming in and destroying whole continents and this sort.
earthquakes.
But we've been dealing with climate change for some years now. I mean, it's getting more and more dramatic because it's escalating, but at least we're seeing with climate change, we were able to like push it aside and like not notice it. But now that like the polar ice caps are melting and it's having real crazy ass storms every year and all that stuff, it's
Polar
starting.
bears are going extinct.
Polar bears are slowly going
Let's
extinct.
save them all
Where are we gonna put them?
in our backyard.
Okay, that sounds like a plan.
We'll just keep putting giant ice cubes back there.
So I won't need to worry about the apocalypse because I'll get mauled by a polar bear. So that's okay. If you're gonna go, that's not a good way to go.
I'm sure if you're
You want to
nice,
die in your sleep.
I'm sure if you're nice to them, they'll be nice to you.
No. Treat you like a giant penguin and eat the fuck out of you. So, the Mayan thing, but that got us into so many other, like, doomsday predictions have been going on for fucking ever. Like, people, like, especially when it comes to, like, the Christian faith, like, people have been, like, predicting the rapture forever. Like, including, I was looking and I saw one and that a Christian sect was predicting that the world was going to end in 1666 because of 666. And they were like, and that around that time, I think on that year, they were dealing with the bubonic plague, and there was the big London fire, and so they're like, that's it, we called it, that's it, we got it, and then of course it didn't come to anything. So people, like, especially in the Christian faith, I even got into like getting into this. I even started reading. I know you're gonna be surprised, but I even started reading the Bible to figure out where these stories are coming from, like where in.
And
like,
as you mentioned in the Bible, how it says that there won't really be signs. God will just, when it's time, it's time.
yeah, and that's, well, I mean, that's, when you look, I looked at the core references. Like, I started just reading Revelations because I was just interested in what, like, it said. Like, because I don't know, like, you picture in your head, like...
The interesting thing about that is that most Christians don't read Revelations because it's fucking petrifying. Like, I remember I started reading it as a teenager and I haven't read it since because it scared the living shit
Well,
out
it's
of me.
dark. Like, it's like I started reading it because I don't know if we need to sum it up, but I'm not a religious person. She's religious, so it was all new to me.
He's spiritual.
I wouldn't say that either. I like to shake a rain stick every once in a while. No, but like reading it to like the core like text and like just coming from it from not like a religious point of view, like that was like the first. I tried to read Genesis a long time ago, and like after like the 40th begat, I was like, okay, I'm gonna pick this up another time. But I just literally jumped right into Revelations, and it's crazy, like just as a story, like, because it's like in that book, like Jesus basically like signed letters to 7 different churches, like, these are your guys' issues. It was like a Yelp review that said, you better fix this because he's coming. And then like God's like, all right, I'm coming, I'm folding this stuff up, let's pack up the tent pole. And all of a sudden the 4 horsemen were unleashed, and like 7 angels started blasting trumpets and raining fire.
Describe what the 4 horsemen look like.
So from what I read, and maybe I misinterpreted, maybe I'll get all kinds of corrections and comments, but that's okay. So there was like one that was like a eagle-like. It literally said eagle-like with wings and eyes all over the place. There was a human-like one, there was a lion-like one, and the 4th one is escaping me, but crazy stuff.
Very interesting when you think of some of the pharaohs that come from
it had a lot of like
Egypt.
And there was like it had a lot of like previous myth stuff, because there was also talking about 24 elders. I'm like, well, who are these elders? Like, where did I don't know if there's like a context for it. Like, there's like in like the prequel, like the book before Revelations, I don't know what it is, but the book before Revelations, if they're like, these are the elders, like, and I'm like just missed out. Like,
I don't
picked
know
up
who
in the
the
wrong
elders.
spot.
Yeah, I don't know who the elders are. I've
I don't know.
honestly never even heard that reference, except for the one time I spoke with a psychic, and I remember asking her, like, is Buddha real? Like, is there, because I think that was after I had my experience when we went to the Buddhist temple, and I felt something very powerful there, and I was very curious, because it didn't make me question my religion, but it made me open my mind to other religions to know, are we all one? Are we all part of one? Do we break off somehow? Was there some kind of more in the sky that you hear a lot, like we've talked about before, like with the gods? And the psychic told me
there's a food court of religions in the sky.
Ooh, that
I
would
hope
be
so.
a really good food court.
You can get whatever you want. You
go
get
to-
like
I'm gonna go
Mongolian
Asian
food
cuisine
and
over
fries.
there. Yeah,
That's amazing.
I'll do some Chinese food, but could it be Americanized a
Hey.
little bit? I don't want all that fishy stuff
Yeah.
in there.
But if I'm a good boy, one day I'll get up to that food court in the sky. Get me a Sbarro's.
But anyway, so she told me, without saying too much, it's almost like, not saying that she was 100% accurate on what she was telling me, but like, but without saying too much, she kind of gave me this look, and she said, they're all up there. And I thought
What?
that was pretty
She's
cool.
hedging her bets.
No, and that's
But
all what you just said about Revelations. I'm like, well, those 24, what did you call them?
I think they referred to him as elders,
The 24 elders. It's very,
which is very like Lord of the Rings-esque.
I was thinking more like Star Wars. Like, you got all the Jedis, like,
Well,
all, like in a circle.
I got a correlation because the person who wrote Lord of the Rings was J.R.R. Tolkien, who actually wrote Lord of the Rings. But he was a very religious person. So yeah, he incorporated some of that stuff in his works. But
That's cool.
yeah, it is cool. You know what's crazy is that when I was little, I don't know if I've ever actually even told you this, but when I was little, I don't know if it was just naive little, like shy, like sweet little Chris,
Shy boy.
before I became jaded. But I used to actually have dreams of like
Jaded.
that food court in the sky. I used to believe that like, well, everybody's up there. Like Buddha's hanging out with like, all the people, like with Jesus. And
Yeah, like what makes our religion better than yours?
I don't know if it was like I didn't want to choose when I was little, or I was like had this worldview like everybody's all great, like it's all.
I like that, because as a child, being raised in a Catholic Italian household, it was like, you're a Catholic, you didn't even think of other religions. I don't even think I knew about what they even did.
I want to know what love is. I want you to show me. You're welcome. There's
Goodbye.
nothing to do with.
Yeah, so I was always like, always scared to like even open my mind
Do you
to
know?
all these other religions.
Do you think that anybody's
culture.
covered that song and just converted it over to
Fuck
Christ?
you. I'm good.
I want to know what Christ is.
You can do it.
I want him to show up.
Acoustic guitar and man bun.
Here we go. I'm starting my own sect, my own cultural sect. This is, and here's the thing with
He
this.
said it again. Hey, shout out to that
all the
dude.
people who shout out.
I don't remember
That
what
dude.
his name was.
I don't know.
Let's play a game and count how many times that Chris can say, here's the thing. Because
I can say it a lot. Here's the thing.
I didn't realize until, like, one of our listeners, like, said it and posted it on our Instagram. And I was like, holy shit, he says that shit
It's
a
more
lot.
obnoxious
Like,
than the fact that I say 100% all the time.
you know, I have, and you guys listening from all over the world, you probably know, like, the California accent is that we say like a lot.
Like,
I say
oh my
like.
God,
When I
too
sometimes
much.
listen to our podcast just to kind of like micromanage myself, I say
Right
like
into leash
so
a
much.
little bit.
I apologize. Like, I just like to say it.
Oh my God, like it's just such a word that is such a space filler when you can't get your brain to move.
Yep. That's what it's
That's
there for.
exactly what it is for.
Anyways, tangent.
We could just have like our previous president before President Trump used to combat that whole thing. He used to pause a lot, and he was notorious for
Who? Obama?
pausing. Yeah, instead of saying like and stuff like it, he would always like pause and shit like that.
Oh, I should probably.
Which is like the
Should I
professional.
do that? Well, I guess you. Well,
Well, it is audio, so I mean, I wouldn't
It's a
pause
little-
too much, you know.
but
you
if
know
you're
what?
watching, then it's not as awkward.
It's still awkward.
I hate that-
Anywho,
hey, for the people just listening and not watching, Chris is drinking on this green cup, and I fucking hate it so much. And he's done it before when we done podcasts. It's so
my favorite
ugly.
cup.
It's like one of those ugly 80s cups. Everything, there's a lot of great things that came
thought
out
you
of the
loved
80s.
the
I'm one of
80s.
them.
Mm-hmm.
But that fucking cup.
it's like so Madonna and like Breakfast Club and stuff.
Meanwhile, I'm over here with my rose gold Starbucks tumbler that I have a collection of, and he has this fucking 99-cent store green fucking cup.
Gross.
Okay,
Yours
I'm
is
over
gross.
it. Let's
Mine
move
is
on to
great.
robots now. Goodbye.
No, hold on. No, before we move on to robots, I want to tell you a story because I think I tried a segue and we failed, flopped right on the segue, just fell on it. So I think the religion thing, the Christianity thing, the Revelations thing, and there's still people trying to predict. We watched a couple videos where like people were like, oh, for sure, I know Revelations is coming because everybody's sinning and you know all that shit. I think that like this whole like Judeo-Christian, Abrahamic, like all these religions. No, I should say most of these religions have some kind of apocalyptic like ending, like and I think there's been a lot of cults and a lot of sects that have like taken advantage of that and preached that the world is ending, even so much that did you know that surprise Christopher Columbus was a Christian lad, and he thought that the world was ending too. In 1501 he predicted it was going to end in like 16.
Okay, so like fact check, was the 1600s when that, or no, it was the 1700s when that huge earthquake hit and then made the tsunamis come.
I don't know.
So he wasn't far off
So
from. I mean, it was pretty devastational.
he said that it was going to happen in 1658, which didn't happen. And the thing here's the thing
But a
about
plague happened in the 1600s, correct? Or no?
I don't know.
I believe so.
Crowd, inform us. This is going to be bad.
No.
This is gonna be bad. The comments are gonna be bad.
No, I'm gonna say
Oh, I'm already tired already from all the
1600s,
comments.
1700s was the plague.
Oh,
But then there's fire, and then there's a fire repercussion from the earthquake.
well, there's going to be repercussions.
And
Right.
the 1700s, the earthquake was like the worst historic earthquake that we've ever had.
Don't know.
And then following that, a lot of times what happens when there's earthquakes, there's tsunamis. So then that happened. And I guess it happened like on All Saints Day, and in all the Catholic churches had candles lit, of course, for the deceased.
Don't they always
And
have candles lit?
They said that like the cities and towns were like on fire because literally from the tsunamis and the earthquakes of the fire. So I can see why people would think that, just like what's going on in our world right now. We have like race wars going on. We have political stuff. We have obviously
I think that
a plague.
Here's the thing: is that people? I think with the. Did I say it? Drinking game. Drink. Here's the thing.
You say it again.
I said it again. Here's the thing. Can't stop myself. It's like the apocalypse.
Now the rest of the viewers that haven't noticed that are going to notice it. It's going to drive them crazy.
It's going to be a thing, because here's the thing. I think that a lot of people who, like... I just said like. Jesus Christ. I cannot.
Just edit this out.
Oh, edit
Nobody
it all
wants
out.
to hear it.
This is going to be a 2-minute episode. Just blurps and likes and all. I know. Deep sighs. I'm going to edit that out too, maybe. All these people who predict apocalypses, like, when it happens, when shit happens, they're like, see, like, it's the beginning, like, there's an earthquake, and there's, like, but when you look at human history, and I feel like we're, like, going through this major shit right now, and it seems like it's the end of the world. 2020 is a disaster, and Sylvia Brown predicted, like, the psychic to
Kim Kardashian.
She predicted to Kim Kardashian that there's going to be a pneumonia-like disease that's going to come in around 2020. She hedged her bets on that. Good job. Around 2020, there's going to be this pneumonia, and it's going to disappear. And then it's going to come back, and it's going to disappear again. And so people are like, oh my God, like, she's predicted it. And now there's racial tensions, and now throughout history, there's been this stuff. Like in 1666, like I said, they were dealing with a fucking bubonic plague, awful racial dynamics, worse than now. Now's bad, but worse than now. And they were dealing with a giant fire in London. Can you imagine being in London? You're going to think it's the end times in 1660. But we muscled on. I think that a lot of times, like, we don't have a lot, especially now that we live in the comforts of modern technology, and we'll talk about some of modern technology later and how it might destroy us. But now we live in the comforts of modern technology, so we're used to, like, living in a bubbled life. Like, we're used to not dealing with, oh, my kid got a weird cough and he died. Like, so when this stuff happens, we're like, oh my God, it's the end of the world. But this stuff has been happening throughout nature and has been trying to kill us forever.
Yeah, you're right.
So,
So it's not the end, everybody.
I don't think it's the end. I don't think 2020 is the end. I think it's a shitty year. I'm going to say it's a bad year, but I don't think it's the end. I was actually thinking in my head, do you think there's for our lifetimes, because we're 1 month apart, so we're hovering around the same age. Do you think 2020 is, for us, the most apocalyptic year we've lived in?
That we've lived in?
Mm-hmm. Like the most apocalyptic light.
Yeah, 100%.
I think so too. I think that, obviously we lived through 2001 and 9/11 and stuff, but that seemed like a local, like
and I think
a country
too,
disaster, not necessarily.
Unfortunately, as like shitty as it sounds, because we're in California, like, we watched it on TV. It's not like we lived it, like, living in New York. Like, I feel like living through that and, like, and then the poor people of New York, what they've gone through with the pandemic also, like, I mean, they're barely opening up shops. So they just went into phase 3, which we've been into phase 3 for, like, 3 weeks now. Like, I mean, like, New York has been through a lot, in the past, ever many years. But, like, but for us, because we didn't, it wasn't as affecting to us because we weren't in the city that it happened in.
Yeah.
I definitely feel like the pandemic has definitely affected us in so many ways. Becoming teachers, just losing our jobs for, temporary times, but still scary times.
Yeah.
Wondering how we're gonna feed our child.
All that stuff.
Thinking I was sick. I swore to him, like, I would be like deep cleaning, and then like dust would just get in my lungs, and I just thought I was gonna die. And I was like, oh my God, I have COVID. And he's just like, you just have dust in your throat. Like, that's it.
Well, I think that, like, we've lived through earthquakes. We're in Southern California, so we've lived through earthquakes. We haven't directly been affected by fires, but there's fires all over Southern California all the time. There's not really a fire season anymore. Like, it's year round. All this stuff, but it's never been like as in our face and kind of abrupt. And there hasn't been. And the thing with now, and I guess we're getting into disease talk, but the thing with now is that with the way they treat diseases, and the Spanish flu, they, of course, there was quarantining and mask wearing and all that stuff, but you know, the way we deal with diseases now, it's real, leaves a real sense of isolationism, because we haven't, I mean, our little one hasn't been able to hug her grandmas or anything like that, like in forever, like not forever, but you know, 3 months or 4 months or whatever it was. So not only
really
is there,
see them.
so not only is there like this tension and people realizing that, like, you know, things are fucked up for a lot of people, and people's eyes opening, and diseases out there and all kinds of stuff, and not to mention stuff in like fucking Yemen that we're not even thinking about. Like there's a real famine crisis in Yemen, and we're not even fucking thinking about that. Like all this stuff that's going on, that combined with the isolationism, like the fact that we're like not only like emotionally dealing with this stuff, is the fact that we're alone, like we're together, but I mean essentially like there's a real feeling of isolation.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah. Just a thought, just a tangent, just another tangent. So you want to hear a fun story?
No.
Okay.
Go ahead.
And it's about apocalypse. In 1954, there was a lady named Dorothy Martin, who was a 50-year-old housewife, who believed that aliens from the planet Clarion, which look it up on a map, Clarion, you won't find it, had beamed down messages informing her that a massive flood would soon destroy the planet. She had this philosophy, and she actually got people to believe in this, and she got followers and stuff like that, and they called themselves the Seekers. So she believed that in 1955, on Christmas Eve, that these aliens from Clarion would come down and beam all them up and make them worth it, essentially.
Tell me that they disappeared.
No, the best part is.
Oh no.
The best part is that. So these folks, these Seekers, they had a big old banger on Christmas Eve. They're like, we got rid of all our shit.
No.
We got rid of all of it. Like we got nothing because we're ready, and all we got is just a fucking shelves of booze, and we're gonna party because aliens are gonna grab us on Christmas or Christmas Eve. Sorry. So they partied and partied and partied and partied, just fucking living it up because they're like, we're going to Clarion, beautiful Clarion, the Bahamas in the universe. And 4:45 a.m. hit on Christmas Day, and they realized that they weren't getting beamed up. And this Dorothy lady said, well, you know what that means? That means they were so happy with us, they decide they're gonna leave us alone.
Oh no.
Don't
tell me they still followed her after that.
I don't think so.
Oh,
could you imagine being a
God.
seeker? You sold your house, you sold your car, everything, and you're ready for it. And then 4:45 a.m. you have to hang in the towel, throw in the towel, and you get that fucking consolation prize
drinking.
at the door. I think I'd Haley Bop it.
Well, there was isn't there like a speculation, like what's his name, Blue or whatever, that supposedly like speaks to the president.
Baloo from Jungle Book?
Yeah, Baloo. But this secret person is supposed to be not from this world, and he gives like insight to the president.
What are you talking about? Hold on.
He gives.
Hold on.
I know people listening.
Nope.
Yep.
So hold on.
Look, you could look it up.
There's a person named Blue who's an
I
alien
think something like
who
that.
gives advice to the president.
Yeah, and gives him like tells him what's going to happen in the future, and these were predictions that happened.
Ladies and gentlemen, we found our next episode.
So the next thing that's supposed to happen is aliens. So we got the fires, the pandemic, and then supposedly the next thing, and this was a prediction that he did prior to all of this.
So let's talk about that. That kind of leads us a little bit into what might be some more plausible end of the earth stuff. Like we've talked about how, all these religious, I'm gonna call them charlatans, in the past, and including Christopher Columbus, who, in between chopping off Native Americans' hands, he found time to predict that the world was ending in 1658.
You keep bringing the mood down.
I'm sorry.
I know it's facts, and I know it's shitty, and it shouldn't have happened, but man,
sorry.
you were a delight.
Let's just think of him as a lovable goofball who was trying to get to India and lost his way and found America. Let's think of him as that way. So you see all this stuff, like religious leaders saying, oh, it's happening, this is the end times, people are sinning and all that stuff. And you see people kind of making up stuff, and, this Dorothy lady telling us that because she got messages in her dome without any kind of, I'm guessing without any kind of, physical evidence that she was visited and all that stuff, the end of the world was happening. Let's talk about some of the more realistic ways in which we might fucking crumble tomorrow. So if we don't get this episode out, it's probably because the world has ended, so I apologize, but that doesn't matter, because if the world has ended, you probably won't care that the episode's out, because you won't be able to listen to it. Following that train of thought, that's kind of dumb. So I'm sorry. But let's talk about some of the ways that the world might end.
Here's the thing. Shut up.
That's probably your most poignant point. So what do you want to talk about first? You want to talk about AI? You want to talk about aliens? You want to talk about all the fucking various ways we might croak?
Well, here's the thing. I've always felt that, like, I know this is like super, I don't even know, because it just makes me sound like I'm all over the place. Like, oh, but you say you're religious, but then, like, I've never told him this, but sometimes, especially after watching that Western show, like, sometimes I feel like, well, what if I'm a robot? Like,
yeah.
Like, what if, like,
there we go. We hit it.
What if we're all
brand new
robots?
milestone, people. What if we're all robots?
I mean, because sometimes, like,
Well,
like, I feel like I have a
simulation.
glitch in my system. Like, I can't remember something, and then, or like when you think about like deja vu. What's the name of that Western show that I'm talking about? Where they go to robot land and it's
Westworld
town, Westworld.
Would you just have? I think I
So
just
it's a
had
robot.
deja vu because I feel like you just asked me that.
Thank you. Okay, this is my point.
Here's
No. Here's the thing yet. Okay, none of your here's the thing yet. Let me get it out. So when we when we have deja vu, like, what if that's just like, are you farting?
No, I'm just trying not to say here's the thing.
Oh, like when we have deja vu. If you guys ever watched Westworld,
I just got deja vu again because she just asked me again.
Westwood. Whatever.
What the West Wing?
Anyways, sorry. I've like started working again, and
It's
I'm
tough
getting
for
back
us.
in my groove.
It's
I don't know
tough
how
for
to do
us.
this anymore.
Oh my
okay, it's
God.
like it used to be just podcast now, and take care of our kid on the side. But now it's like podcast, kid, going to work.
That's our side gig.
trying to like function like mentally is
I'm
a
out here trying to
little
function.
draining. Anyway, so I feel like, if you guys ever watch a show, if you haven't, I'll give you a quick little rundown. So, basically the show's about like stupid rich people that pay a lot of money to go, and basically.
Are they stupid or are they just fucking douchey?
The same difference. Play with robots, and they can like, have sex with them, and they can kill them, and just like a horrible, like it's like a Disneyland, but like an adult
It's like
version
it's the worst version of the Ren Fair, essentially.
Yeah, or like the western part of Knott's Berry Farm, like where it's all Wild West.
What if you could just murder someone in Knott's Berry?
Yeah, I mean that's
I think
basically
you can. I
yeah.
think that's happened a few times in Knott's Berry Farm.
Oh no, don't say that.
Local treasure.
But so so it's like an amusement park, like with the rides, every day they shut them down. So those robots on the rides have to be shut down and then they're turned on again in the morning. So that's how these robot beings that look very human look like. What?
I just had it.
Okay, not yet. So
I imagine a job. Can you imagine in that world, in the Westworld world, there's some guy who's got to clean up the business end of the prostitutes. Because it's a robot, right?
Oh, yeah.
There's essentially like a janitor who has to like
hose them down. I think it is hose them. Remember they have that
gotta,
scene in the show. You guys gotta watch the show.
Too graphic, but
fucking
you gotta
trip out. Okay, we don't need to talk about jizz.
You gotta release the valve and then
vagina.
hose them down. Okay, sorry.
Anyways, so
not just girls, maybe boys too. I don't know.
So anyway, so every day they have to like be recharged, and it's like they erase their memory, and so. Like, I think sometimes, like, well, what if that's like us? Because in the show, they get deja vu sometimes. Like, sometimes flashbacks and memories, like, will come through, even though they were programmed to, like, not think that. These memories come through. And I'm like, well, what if we were robots and our deja vu, like, where we're like, oh, we've been here before. Like, but that's not possible because we just met. Like, when me and Chris had met for, like, God, the first couple years we'd get deja vu all the time. And so it's like, well, what if we were just like those robots being turned on and off? And then,
we got turned on. Not a lot of turning off, though. A lot of janitor work, if you know what I mean.
Oh, my God, stop.
Sorry, what?
No.
Nobody wants to hear that?
I'm blushing.
I don't even want to hear that in my head.
Anyways, but yeah, like, so it's just a thought to think about. Like, what if
we're
high functioning robots? And I think about like say people that are born paraplegic or or something, like, what if like something happened with their system, like, because when you look at the human anatomy, I mean, it kind of functions like a robot. Like, it all starts here, and your brain tells you to move your arms or how to feel pain. And I mean, if we can make a computer, work as like a brain, then why couldn't we? I know if we aren't robots, eventually we can build humans to be.
Well, what you're talking about is a singularity, right? Isn't that the theory that once we get to a certain level that we won't be able to tell? And I think, here's the thing too, is that the scary part is that I don't know if we're robots, because by the time we get to the robots that are functioning like that, Westworld's a little bit like
extreme.
And well, it's like it's a sci-fi movie to its core because it talks about these flaws in the robots. But like, if we get to the point where we have like robot
flaws in the
parks,
robots or flaws in the humans, because
what's flaws in the humans?
I'm more on the robot side in that show than I am the humans.
I almost think that maybe once we get to the Westworld point, that like the robots will actually be developing and repairing the robots and stuff like that. The idea, like one of the reasons why it leads to a kind of a idea of the end of the world is because it's not that we would be able to develop these theme parks that are robot centric and all that stuff. It's the fact that robots, and specifically we keep talking about robots like it's the Jetsons, artificial intelligence will get to the point where conceivably that once we start making them smarter and smarter, they can start making themselves smarter. And eventually they won't need us and they'll be smarter than us. And then the question is, at that point, what happens? Do they hold some compassion? And do they save the human race, even though they're smarter than us and they could probably carry on without us? Or do they eliminate us because we're unnecessary and we're flawed and we're probably destructive if you look at what we kind of do to the earth and what we leave behind and all the trash and all that shit we leave. Are they going to realize how inefficient we are or how overpopulated we are? I mean, the thing is, like, from a statistical perspective, like, the world is overpopulated, and us as humans, there's no way it can be justified to euthanize or depopulate the human species because we're humans. Like you can't put a quantitative take on one life versus the other. But are robots going to have that calculation? Are they going to say, well, there's too many people, but we can't be killing humans for the sake of depopulation because that's fucked up.
My whole, and this is probably just me, like always like thinking there's good in everything and every being and whatever, but I don't get the reason why they would just want to like take over us and like, to me it's just kind of like, if they're so intelligent, why would they even need this planet and the other planets to function out there? They could just leave us because they know that we couldn't come out to find them. Like, they could just leave. Like, why would they, like I don't know, if I was like an alien and there was like this many billion humans on Earth, like, or like a robot, like why would I would just be like, I'm gonna find my own planet. Like, look at Mars, no one's on Mars, supposedly.
What if aliens are just, I mean, obviously
robots.
What if aliens are just
future
robots,
versions
but
of us.
Sure. But what if aliens are from a different planet, but essentially they are intertwined, or they're sending, like, these aliens are sending out robots to come visit? Because if you're an alien and you have the technology to get a spaceship over here or whatever, and you would conceivably maybe have robots in the rotation and artificial intelligence, as as a resident of Nabu Nabu, if you love your family life on that planet, why would you go? You would just send robots. So what if we're visited by
Nibiru? Actually, like that you brought that up. There have been, going back from our tangent, Nibiru.
Going back from our tangent into a tangent
to the ancient, Sumerians, in their scripts, they say that, like, basically that in 2012 also, I believe. I have to get the date right, sorry. But
we're not fact centric.
They also said that Nibiru was supposed to like crash into us, and we were supposed to like be ended. So that's another side note.
Well, one of the things is that, like, that is a side note, because we could talk about rogue planets and asteroids, which is a whole nother fucking ball game. One of the things that scares me about artificial intelligence is, like, people like Elon Musk and Bill Gates are, like, basically saying, hey guys, don't do this. Like, please don't do this. Like, essentially said, guys, don't do this. Stephen Hawking said, guys, don't do this. Like, I'm paraphrasing and I'm exaggerating what they're saying, but they were very, like, they've said a lot of things that make them sound very nervous about this whole AI thing. So a lot of very, very smart, prominent people have warned us against an AI. But I don't know. I don't know how you put that. I don't know how you put it back in the can. With human curiosity, with the human industry, businesses. Like, I don't know how you.
Here's the thing. Here's what
put a wrap on that.
Here's what's going to set robots off. Like, when you're like tampering.
What really
with
pisses
them,
robots off?
Yeah, when you're tampering with them and making them into a joke, like, about taking over the world, eventually they're gonna, like, put it in their brains that, like, well, why are they so worried about us taking over the world? And then you just keep putting these ideas. And then if you're mean to them, because it's almost like a human being mean to a cat or dog just for the sake of, because they can.
Oh, have you seen the videos of, I think it's Boston, is it Boston Dynamics? There's a company that basically has these robots, and they shove them down and they knock them down to see how they get back up.
Yeah.
Those robots are remembering. It's in the storage system.
Because, like, I mean, think about like Wi-Fi, how we can connect. You know that they could jump. They're connecting. They're all connecting each other.
Well, and also I think that, I don't think it's an immediate worry, because if you look at, like you said, like, the programmers are filling these AI robots up with jokes and stuff like that.
They're toying with them, and I'm like forcefully probably having sex and doing disgusting
You don't know that.
things with
You're
them.
slandering.
So that's where I could see the twist of the robot, especially from.
But
Westworld.
You just want to get it back to Westworld. You want to think of a world that's like Westworld. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's scary. I don't think there's any way we're going back. I think there's zero chance that the human race backs off from AI.
Think about it. Think about how stupid, like, we have to constantly be updating our phones. We have to, we get it on our phone, and it's like if our phones, our smartphones, if we don't get the update, like, our phones are acting weird. Like, they don't function. So it's almost like you have to. So, and that's like every month, every week. Like, we're having to update everything, and everything's constantly changing. The new iPhones are coming out. The new laptops are coming out. Like, it's just kind of like, it's too much.
Technology is steamrolling. I think there's a few things that that cause AI to never stop being pursued. I mean, it might slow down depending on world events and stuff like that, depending on that stuff. But one is human curiosity. Humans are just curious by nature. So there's no way that scientists aren't going to develop any kind of AI stuff.
You made a good point too, is that, like, a lot of the people that are building these robots are geeks, no offense.
Oh my god.
But yeah, and so they're
so fucking rude.
So, and you're also saying that they're like loners.
Well, here's the thing. So I think that's one of the.
Here's the thing.
So you derailed me. I think one we'll get into that. One, I think curiosity they're not going to stop. Like, humans are curious, and so there's no chance that and I think there's also, I mean, AI has helped us, and it can help. Like, we were watching one thing where, like, there's this smaller robot that can go into dangerous areas that can protect human lives. So there's too much benefit for humans to back off of it. Like, even though there's, like, all kinds of warning signs and that kind of thing. And I think also industry. I think that no matter what happens, no matter what the ramifications might be, there's always people who are looking to make a buck. And so if you make an AI program that somehow benefits the business sector or the healthcare sector or whatever, that's going to be developed, because it's just that once there's money out there, someone's going to grab it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, what I was talking about is that one of the things that worries me about AI is a lot of people are talking about AI being built in with compassion and ethics and the sort, but one of the things that makes me nervous, and it's probably silly, but is that a lot of people who are developing this stuff, they're smart folks, but who knows what their compassion level is? They're not philosophers, they're scientists, and so who knows what kind of built-in compassion they're trying to integrate in. And obviously artificial intelligence implies a built-in ethics and compassion element, but it's not. Who knows who's monitoring that and regulating that and trying to make sure that we build that in. So
the scary thing too is that, like, when we're doing research for the show this evening, I was talking about how, like, 3 different, like, robots were speaking of how the world's going to be taken over by robots. And
yeah, there's a lot of that stuff, and who knows how much of that is like
2029
programmer fucking jokes. I think that was maybe a programmer joke. Like, he's like, I'm gonna slip this in. And the scary part about that.
But why 2029? It's so weird that they all. There's 3 different robots from completely different.
Oh, they all said 2029.
Yeah.
I don't think they all.
I
think they all talked about, like, taking over the world.
Of them. 2 of them for sure.
I don't know, but I think there's a lot of programmer jokes, and that's the thing that brought me chills. Is, like, a little bit. I think it has to do with recklessness, because that 2029 thing with the AI robot is when that comment was made, there was laughter in the audience because it was an exhibition, and that freaked me out. I was like, oof, like, are we laughing about that? Like, if I was in an audience, even if I were a scientist developing AI, I'd be like, oof, like, I don't know about that. Like, like, the fact that, like, it's weird.
The fact that robots are making up their own language and communicating with each other.
That's a weird thing.
Fucking scary.
That is. That might have been the scariest part.
And I think that's when you gotta like take things back a notch, and
But it's not
really
gonna
be
happen.
careful.
It's not going to happen. I mean, they're going to try to build in certain things and stuff like that, but there's no way that people are going to be backing off of AI.
You know why?
completely.
Because everybody wants to be the first. You know.
Sure, it goes back to human curiosity.
I mean, who the fuck knows what's going on in the military already? Like, you know, like there could be, like let's.
Oh,
talk,
there's AI stuff in the military already. There's
that's
AI
what I'm saying.
in our
They
life
probably,
right now.
I mean, they probably already have super advanced robots that we don't even know about. Like, besides one, Sophia, is that the real famous one? that we
Oh,
watched?
the guest one. But
Yeah,
she's supposed
yeah.
to be like a customer service robot, essentially.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the military is... I saw
They
I
probably
saw a
have-
video of like... It looked like they were like Terminator type robots. Like the AI.
Yes.
And they were
no,
firing handguns.
I can't. I couldn't even be in the same room. We watched that video and I was like, oh, hells to the nose. But see, that's another interesting fact too, what you were talking about earlier. What if robots are like Terminator, like, you know, and from another planet, and they come back here and there are good ones and bad ones.
But
they come back
Terminator
here
wasn't...
to save us.
No, Terminator wasn't he wasn't an alien.
No, but I was just saying, like, how we were talking about, like, how I said, well, what if aliens went, or robots went to another planet, but then because they could be somehow connected, I don't even know, like through our computers to our
Maybe.
systems, they could come back and try to save us. I mean, so that's a different way of looking at it. I believe in good robots out there.
Sci-fi movie script
If
that
you're
we're...
listening, good robots, please stay good.
So you're saying that maybe we got the technology to get out of Earth and to colonize another planet, and we developed robots, and then somehow we knew that...
Well, we already send robots to, like, you know, droids and things like that to
R2-D2?
yeah, to like wander, you know, the moon and Mars and stuff like that. So I mean, what if, I mean, technology's way more advanced than we think. What if they're actually putting like humanoid robots on there? What was that really cool anime remake with the girl that Ghost
Ghost in the Shell?
Ghost in the Shell? Yeah, like that's
That remake.
if
Are you
you
talking
guys-
about the live action remake?
Yeah.
Not good.
I liked it. Shut up.
No.
I thought it was.
The original was good. The anime
I
was
thought it
good.
was really good. I thought it was pretty close to the original.
Okay. Sure.
Anyways,
We're all entitled to our opinion.
if you guys haven't checked that out, go watch it, because everything I'm talking about, like how we've, you know, I think that there's a possibility we could be robots. If we're not, that's going to be our future. Like there's 100%. Like,
Well, what about the integration? I don't think I've ever
and that goes
mentioned...
back to like RoboCop, because he was like human robot, like whatever's left of him.
Does it really go back to RoboCop? I don't know if I've ever mentioned, but I have diabetes, so I have a dead pancreas.
He's bringing it down again, everybody.
Again, that's my job. But I mean, you could see a world where I think they're already trying to develop certain things where essentially it's an artificial pancreas because the pancreas regulates insulin, which controls sugar. Too much info. But what if, you know, you could see a world where something is developed where there's, you know, some kind of AI or something like that where it regulates that, so diabetics could get this installed in them. So, I mean, we're kind of on the precipice of being androids anyway.
Because
Like,
isn't your brother? What does your brother have?
it's a pump. It's different. It injects, but there's ones that I know for a fact, because I've heard things that they're developing technology with.
Yes.
It's essentially an artificial chip, or not artificial, but a chip that functions as
those
an
chips
artificial
again.
pancreas.
Don't get injected with them chips.
What kind of chips? Lay's chips. Yeah, but I mean, chips in general. I know there's a lot of fear of chips, but I mean, you can't say all chips are bad.
No,
Just like
I
not
mean,
all robots are bad.
I can understand that, and that totally would make sense. But just say like a
what if-
robotic pancreas, and say a robotic chip, because wouldn't it be a robotic, like it would.
It's like a little chip, I think. I don't know. We're talking. We don't know. We don't have inside info. But you know, what if I had that in me and then it went haywire, and it started stabbing me from the inside?
not, or
It
just
grew little
not, or
arms
giving
and
you,
started stabbing me.
yeah, no, or just gave you too much insulin, or
That's
didn't
what
give
I
you
would do.
enough.
I'm being silly.
No, I know, but that's,
I don't think it would stab me from the inside.
That's why, even like with your brother's pump, I know sometimes he has issues with it.
He's got the pump.
I know he really likes it, but like I don't know, like I just that stuff scares me. I even used to get scared when my girlfriends would get when they would take birth control, they would get the implant, and I always told them, I go, I don't implant, like,
That's
unless it's boob implants, that's okay. But if it's something that's supposed to be releasing a certain amount of hormones or some type of medication, I'm not trusting it. And 9 out of 10 people got that shit removed because it was fucking them up.
How are you gonna get a driverless car? Like a
I'm gonna
self-driving
drive
car?
it. No, so I really want a Tesla.
But once they develop the fact that it's to the point where you can be,
I don't. I mean, because
it
even
gets self-drive.
because I didn't Nicholas Tesla even say that he predicted that, but said that there would be some kind of malfunctions with it. So I wouldn't.
Nikola Tesla predicted that?
Yeah.
He said there's going to be a self-driving car and eventually.
Yeah, I don't think he called it a car because it was more like what are they called?
Horseless buggy. He said it was going to be
No.
horseless buggy.
No,
he wasn't around at that time. I know.
Yeah.
Please don't comment.
So no. So like a self-driving carriage or something, and that.
Wasn't he around after cars? Oh,
But not like our cars.
Not like our cars. No, he wasn't driving like a Toyota Prius.
Yeah, no. He was around like with Thomas Edison. They were big.
They were buddies. They're
not
buddies.
Not buddies.
Not at all. They hate each other. Why did I say buddies?
Nikola Tesla was very friendly and very trustworthy when he shouldn't have been, because he totally got screwed over big time.
Yeah, so he passed away in 1943. So yeah, he was around when old Ford was doing his thing and making cars and all that stuff.
But like, I guess they did call them cars back then.
Yeah. I mean, they might have called them automobiles. But
yeah, maybe.
Same shit.
Yeah, but yeah, he predicted, and I believe that he had the engineering behind it, and the story about when he died, all of a sudden magically all of his records that he had written down all disappeared.
What?
Edison stole that shit.
Oh yeah, the theory that the government took it and did whatever they wanted to do with it.
Yeah.
So AI is scary, for sure. I mean, and there's always the nukes that freak everybody the fuck out. I looked it up. I think I did a calculation even that there's fucking like 13,885 warheads out there in the world
that we know about.
That we know about, of course. Mm-hmm. So if everybody started firing that shit, like as far as we're concerned, we'd be done.
Toast.
I'm sure there would be. I don't know if it'd deplete the whole human race, but it'd be pretty detrimental, I would say. So nuclear weapons are a big thing,
Yeah, it's scary. I don't even want to like touch on that subject because
that scares you more than
makes me sad.
AI.
Because I
think they both scare me
I just
pretty
feel like
equally.
it's a like, no offense to all the male listeners, but it's a fucking balls thing. How big are your balls? Let's fucking.
Is it more like a dick, the missile, or no?
Let's take it. Well, what's in your balls? That's your ammo.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, let's see
You
who's
saying
got
I got
the bigger
baby
balls.
nukes in my balls? Little baby nukes.
Oh my god.
They're atomic babies.
Anyway.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. So like with that, like I just feel like it's so unnecessary. It's so stupid.
It is stupid. Well, I mean, it is unnecessary because
the only thing that those things should be used on is if there's like an alien race coming out here and they want to go to war and they've declared it.
Like Mars
and
attack.
You fucking shoot those motherfuckers. But shooting other humans just to fucking gain power is retarded.
Well, you look at what happened in Nagasaki and Hiroshima. Like, you should never have. It's the worst case scenario if you fire off a nuclear weapon. Like, it's devastating to people who largely had nothing to do with the fucking beef that you and your governments have. Like, it's fucking insane. But, I mean, again, it's like one of those things where it goes into another human instinct. Like, we talked about curiosity fueling AI and not letting up on the gas for the most part. But, you know, our human sense of protectionism and kind of tribalism that's ingrained with us, like, is causing all these nations, and we're a culprit of it. The U.S. is a major, like, I think we probably have the most, maybe between us and Russia. Well, we have a lot. We have a lot. And it just getting, like, to use your analogy, getting these like, big government, you know, these big governments to, like, fucking put their dicks away, like, and just keep it inside, like, it's not.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not, the people aren't gonna, like, it's almost impossible to just
and
de-escalate.
it's like a fucking, it's so irritating because it's like, oh, let's see who can create the bigger atom bomb. And then it's like, oh, let's see who can go to Mars first. Oh, let's see who can have world domination first. Oh, let's see who can build the most advanced robot society. Like, everything is a fucking competition.
Oh yeah, humans are,
And,
life
you know,
is a competition.
it's like, why do we have to be segregated, like, you know, in that sense? Like, it's so dumb. And again, I feel like if there was a lot of female leaders out there, it wouldn't be as dumb.
I'd have to probably agree with you on that.
Thank you. This is why we got married.
This is, yeah. No, but no, it's, the males are can be toxic. For sure. So, yeah, I don't know. It's nuclear weapons, you know, we might die of, what if, we saw a thing where one of the AI robots or whatever said, I'm going to grab all the nukes once I get the chance and destroy all you motherfuckers. So
how about the robots get all the nukes and just destroy them so we can't use them on each other or kill ourselves in the process? Because that's a scary thing. You never know. As accurate as you might be, we are human, we do make mistakes. Like that atom bomb that you think is going to shoot all the way over who knows where the fuck, it could go backwards, or it could blow up also your people too. Like, that's the scary thing.
Mm-hmm. It could totally just fuck you up.
Yeah.
Anyways, well, there's all kinds of other things that I don't know if we even have time to talk about. There's plagues, asteroids, other planets, tidal waves, earthquakes.
Yeah.
The Earth is out to get us. And eventually it will get God.
Hopefully not in this lifetime.
Hopefully not.
I think everybody listening, I can agree all over the world. We've had enough for the last 4 months. With all the racial tension that's been so horrible. You know, Black lives do matter, if you listen to our last episode. And, you know, it's just like, God, we just, our world, I feel like Mother Earth is bleeding, and we gotta help heal her. And by doing that, we gotta love each other.
But I think that when we get back to that, you know, Black Lives Matter, I think that now we're finally realizing that. I think that's always been the case. That's always been a thing. But now we're, you know, a lot of white people are realizing the kind of shit that, you know, goes on, and kind of facing that.
Has been going on.
So, you know, that's not a new thing, unfortunately, but all the other shit and all the, you know, all of the coming and the reactions and people like getting defensive with all lives matter and all that shit. That's what's causing it to come to a head. But
yeah, so the bottom line is, I think with us, you know, the big question for this episode is, you know, when will the world end? Is the world ending? You know, we don't know. We can't predict that. In the Bible, it says if you're a Christian, you believe any script from the Bible, it says that you will not know. No. And you're not supposed to know. So I think, like, the message that if one person could take this with a grain of salt or share it with somebody, is to love each other, respect each other. That's the only way that we're going to get through life happy, and we can all have a good life together if we respect each other.
Yeah, I mean, Who knows when it's gonna fucking end? Nobody knows.
But why be angry or why be scared and just worry about that? Oh my gosh, we're gonna die from the pandemic. Oh my god, we're gonna die the race war, blah blah blah. Like, how about we just have the different philosophy and be like, hey, we might die tomorrow, so why not make it the best day? Treat everybody with love and care and, you know, help each other. Kumbaya.
It's a real fucking... I should get out my acoustic guitar and fucking play it.
Yourself. See?
What?
This is really like, you know, like you might be thinking I'm living in a dream world or whatever, but I mean, it would be a nice world.
Like,
and I don't think we would be in such hot water, you know?
I think you gotta, like, this whole doomsday thing, I don't think that you could adjust your life too much to that. I think there's certain things you could do. I think there's certain things you could do, like, towards, like, any kind of, like, impact on the climate and stuff like that. You can help that, but in terms of, like...
Let's build a bunker, bro!
You could do that.
I really want to.
You
Start
could.
digging tomorrow. If you were down, I would so fucking...
A bunker?
Under our house.
Sure. Why not? Yeah, I don't know. I think I'd be okay with the bunker in premise. I wouldn't go in it because I'd get too claustrophobic. But
if you had to, you had to.
If I had to, of course. Of course, if I had to. Yeah. But anyway, if it's an asteroid, you got no say over it. You just gotta live how you're living, because it's just, unless you're in the movie Armageddon where they blast it out of the sky, then you got no say over it. If it's a rogue planet, you got no say over it. If it's artificial intelligence, like I kind of said before, you got no say over it. Like, it's gonna happen. You can speak your piece and be vocal about maybe, like, making sure that we're not letting our robot overlords take us over. Your nuclear weapons, like, unless you got the codes, unless you're listening, presidents and prime ministers and all them, like, you got no say over it. So you just gotta kind of fucking live your life and try to make the shit here a little better. Like, make it, while we're still here, make it a little fucking better. Inch by inch, so.
Yeah.
Well, this has been an episode of Extra Normal Podcast. I'm probably not going to sleep tonight thinking about the robots. But my name is Chris again, and you can find us at Extra Normal Podcast. Christopher. My name's Christopher. You can find us on Instagram at Extra Normal Podcast. You can find us on Twitter at Extra Normal P. You can email us if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or all the corrections you're probably going to be sending us. extranormalpodcast at gmail.com. And Brianna, where can they find you?
Darling Dolly with a 0, not an O, on Instagram. And yeah, if you are trying to follow me, because I am private, just DM me
Invite
and
only.
let me know. Because if you're just like random, I won't add you, because I get a lot of stalker weirdos. So
Oh no,
yeah.
I don't get any stalkers.
I don't mind if you follow me, but I just
sad
want to
about
know like how you know me, what you know me from, and yeah.
Cool. Yeah, for sure. And thank you for listening. And always be friends of doomsday preppers or something.
Robots. Be nice to your fellow robots. Because they can fucking screw you.
They will murder you. So, careful.